So we took about all of this part of the map, bricked it, then filled it with 400 refineries and loops to make our first space elevator part, nuclear pasta. And the party here ain't over, not by a long shot. So hello everyone, I'm ImKibitz and welcome back to Satisfactory, where yes, we're back in the green fields where we're making all of our pasta. There is so much more we're gonna be doing here, it is going to be crazy. Name of the game today though is steel. There is tons of iron ore around here and a good chunk of coal, so we're gonna be turning this hallway into a super massive steel plant. And then we'll take all that steel over to the box over here, and then turn it into our next space elevator part factory. Good news, bad news with this project though. Good news is, hey, all the materials can be brought over from this direction on this belt highway to right where it needs to be. Bad news is there's kind of all of this in the way. So I don't really know if we're gonna be able to fit in all of the machines. We need about, what's 20 times, I don't know, 7? Yeah, about 140 smelters. And then we're gonna have to fill up that side of the wall with about 60 foundries. Do we have the blueprints to make this work? Well, we have the wall foundries here. That'll fit in pretty well. And then smelters. We have a smelter design too. Yeah, that's a chonky freaking boy. I wanna have the smelters on this side. Is this gonna work? It's a little too tall. Can we just make the floor smaller? Oh, you better believe it, brother. Okay, good. Ooh, well, there actually is gonna be like one little rock in the way, but we'll just bury that in machines. So how does this thing work again? The inputs and outputs are on the very bottom there, and then everything kind of goes up and then back down. So you just have to place this, make sure it fits. That's practically done. Then we'll have to run a belt underneath there. There's plenty of space over to the right, so that'll be fine. That is pretty dang squished. Okay, you know what? That's fine. And then that takes up 4 tiles. So do we have enough room going over this way? Easily. We have like 30 tiles right there. You go up to like 32. 32 divided by 4 is 8. And since each blueprint has 20 smelters in it, that means we have room for 160 of them. I just have to carefully keep stacking these next to each other. And we'll make it to the end of the hall, and it'll be amazing. And okay, that's the final one. So we're gonna have to hook up all of the iron belts into each system, and then from each system, we'll have a bunch of belts of irons going on top of this highway here to all of the foundries. And it's gonna look sick. We're gonna have movement over here, movement going across, probably add some lights, some ceiling belts, and this is gonna be like the craziest looking room ever. With all the planning done, we can go and fetch all of the resources, which I just did by building this super massive belt infrastructure. Now, we could have used trucks, but it's like, hey, already had a belt highway here. Why not expand on it? And then it's like, oh, hey, why don't we get the iron over there? Or that iron over there, behind the hill. And then I went all the way out to that pure coal node. So, whoops. Sorry, cool truck station that we're gonna use for everything, but the belts were just more convenient. Then I had previously built this massive train system too that's bringing in everything else we need. So at this point now, we should just be able to set up the rest of this entire room. Just add in the foundries, belt over some materials, get this all started, and GG. But while I was working on all the belt work, I kinda was noticing there's some problems with all the copper refineries upstairs. Like, hey, why are there so many gaps in production? So I've been tinkering with it a lot. And I realized there's a couple little belting errors that I fixed in the refining area. And there's a big problem with trains I really should have realized. And that's when trains unload material at the station, the items stop flowing out of it. So every train station really should have its own buffer system. So instead of having all of the material stop when the train unloads, we have a bin out front for bulk storage, and then that goes into our system. And then there will never be any interruptions, because there's always a supply of material. The unfortunate implication of that is that needs to be done for all the materials being brought in by the trains, so we're gonna have to rip open this entire space a lot. But we'll get to that in a couple minutes here. Next thing I kinda need to do is I need to check on our nuclear power plant. Because when we're turning on our massive pasta factory, I started running the nuclear power plant back at 100% capacity. And I haven't done that for a while, and the last time I was running at 100%, there were kind of little problems here and there, so I'm a little concerned. And apparently rightfully so. Why is there too much nuclear waste? That doesn't make any sense at all. So what's going on with our power plant is all of them are turned on. Everything is running just fine. So why would we ever have too much nuclear waste right now? I probably made some kind of weird, simple mistake. I kind of take problems as like either tiers 1, 2, or 3. Tier 1, oh, I just forgot to do something silly. Like, I don't know, a disconnected power line, maybe a machine was off, whatever. Tier 2 is I know what the problem is, it's just gonna be really annoying to fix. And then tier 3 is, I actually don't know what the problem is. And I gotta be honest here, I don't know what's going on. You see, we're making plutonium fuel rods. That means we're using nuclear waste in processing. So all that stuff is working. This belt is empty because that's a drainage line for encased uranium cells that are being produced down there. And all of those machines are running normally. Drones? Is there a problem with the drones? There are no, oh no, there are drones. Nothing's coming in via that drone. Oh, okay, maybe it's a drone problem. Good, that's simple. No. 203 items per minute incoming transfer rate. That means this drone is out there doing stuff. Oh, both of those drones are here. Batteries are all good. Yeah, we solved that a little while ago. Okay, all of these are fine. Yeah, there's the drones. 200 items per minute, that's fine, that's how it should be. Okay, I'm getting a little worried. Is there a problem with processing somehow? Looks like the loops are running. There's the plutonium. Uptime 100%. In fact, this whole thing is full of material. What? These bins are all full, meaning all the other factories are fine. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty worried. There's only one other possible thing it could be, and I doubt it is. So for the nuclear waste, if ever there's too much, it reroutes down this way to our emergency processing facility automatically. But yeah, no, that's for overflow, meaning this is backed up, but there's no reason that would have backed up because everything here is running. Well, these aren't running, but only because the non-fissile uranium is backed up. Okay, this isn't good. We got ourselves a tier 3 problem, ladies and gentlemen. What happened? Everything was running fine. Update 7 happens. There was a change with the reactors where the power was switched to a linear scale for overclocked reactors. Where a nuclear power plant would produce 5,000 megawatts when fully overclocked, but now they work on a linear scale, so they produce 6,250 megawatts. And that's kind of the only power change that happened. But would that change the input and output of material? So are the uranium fuel rods changed? Half of 1 per minute, looks normal. 120 per second, yeah. 25 waste per minute. Oh, hold up, this is huge. Okay, update 7 actually changed everything. I had no idea. I was talking about this problem in my Twitch stream, and I was linked to this article about the update, and the linear power thing actually changes how much input and output there is per nuclear reactor. They operate at 2.5 times as fast for resource input, waste output, and power production, instead of being just twice as fast. So that means the answer is actually kind of simple. All we have to do is underclock some of the reactors, or whichever ones have 3 power shards in them. So we're gonna lose some megawatts, but I suppose all in, we're gonna end up where we're at in power production before the update happened. So that's like not the end of the world, no biggie in fact. And what's even better is to get rid of a lot of the excess nuclear waste. All we have to do is turn a couple of these reactors off for a little while, and since our system's fully operational, it'll be able to handle all of the waste in time. So good thing we checked on all this, but let's get back to our projects at hand here. Start making that steel. Where were we with that? Oh yes, we have to change up this entire train station, so we have the extra buffer bins there. And then we have to actually add in the foundries. You know what? I think we're gonna add in the foundries first. And man, thank goodness we have all of the power stuff already in the ceiling. Makes our life so much easier. I love it. And then for these guys, we could just put them down here, or we could raise them up a little bit higher. Yeah, we'll zoop in an extra platform here, and then it'll be on the same height as those things over there, and the beltwork will look a lot better at the end of the day. And I don't know how exactly we'll do it, but effectively we can just have these belts going straight across and into wherever the inputs and outputs are, which are all right here. Oh, I labeled them. That's so nice. Thank you, past Kibs. Outputs here. Oh yeah, this is gonna be probably simple, right? Right. We need like 3,800 steel per minute, so we're just gonna use this recipe with the iron ingots and the coal. So 3,600, 3,800. Wait, how much steel can this system produce? 6 machines, and each of them make 60 per minute, so that's 360 steel ingots per minute. But of course, if we overclock, 150 steel per machine times 6 is like, what, 900? Yeah, 900. So we can't fully overclock them, but we can probably just do that. 120 times 6 is 720. Okay. So we'll overclock them a little bit, and then from each of these systems, we'll have to do some kind of overflow thing. I want to work on steel so bad, but we can't just yet. Something's been annoying me. There's like some weird inconsistencies with the belts here, and I really think we need like a buffer for all of the copper ingots. Just once you start getting into like the 10,000 plus items per minute mark, you just gotta have a bunch of buffers. So I'll connect all these belts into these, and then we will get to the rest of the foundries. Okay, so I give that like a 50-50 chance of doing literally anything. Anyway, since we're gonna be building so much, I've turned off all of the copper powder refineries, unless all the copper has stopped moving, and we are going to continue on the steel. So much going on, man. I just wanna make like 3,000 steel ingots per minute. I don't know why everything has to be so complicated all the time. Oh my gosh, I'm out of materials. Speaking of, there we go. Continue to build out this way, and then we are practically done. Over here, there's just some pipe stuff, so that can all be gone, and I can adjust this as need be. So now we just need to deal with the belt work, and this should be pretty straightforward. Since we built all of the foundries in a giant wall here, we have 2 blocks of space to do whatever we want. And we actually have some room out front here as well. And the game plan is, we'll bring over the iron, and it will go through a series of mergers and splitters and enter each of these systems. I did some more math, and long story short, we actually have to make like 110 steel ingots per machine, and that means each system is only gonna need 440 iron per minute. And then looking back at this whole system, each set of 20 smelters in each blueprint needs to produce 600 items per minute. So 600 iron will come over from this unit, go over this way, like I was saying, scoot over to the next unit, and then split off what it has to, but then we'll have part of that overflow to a lower floor, and we'll kind of make a residue iron belt, because we can't just directly overflow and inject material into each system perfectly. This gets really weird because there's gonna be an extra 160 material from each system. So 600 goes in, 440 to that, 160 to the next one. We merge in another 600, and then we have 760. 760 minus 440 is 320. And at the end of the day, this extra bit of overflow is just gonna clog up the whole system. And that's why we're making kind of this residual lane down here. And then by the end of the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 4 systems, so 160 times 4 is 640. Okay, great. So that's 640. We'll then scoot over to these 2 systems, and that'll run. This system will be running at full speed, and this system doesn't have to run as fast. That leads us to our next problem. This is a really big one. I don't know how we're gonna bring items in and out of this room. Like the iron ore, it's all over there, no problem. But the rest of the stuff is in a train station over here. So how are we gonna bring stuff via the trains to this location? With the caveat where I do not want to ruin the aesthetic of all these belts. I like seeing all these copper belts all on their own. Like the view from up above looks awesome. So we have to hide the belt somewhere underneath the train station. One obvious idea would be bring the belts back here and then go through this wall. But then right through this wall is all of these freaking pipes. There's pipes everywhere. So that ruins a lot of the easy solutions. Also, I cannot unnotice that the light was not perfectly centered. Anyway, yeah, this entire wall is full of pipes and I don't want to move all of them. Then there's this massive load balancer thing for the refineries. So that leaves us with not many options. What's through here? A hill. Okay, you know what? Maybe we could make this work. What if we had a ceiling belt running along here, and then this leads to the train station, right? Ooh, that's a little bit of room. Oh, but there's so many belts over here. There's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 belts. Yeah, there's gonna be like weird clipping and stuff. No, I think the only solution is I'm gonna have to move a couple pipes, and I'm gonna have to make some sort of room here to transition all of the belts from the ground up until the ceiling. And then once we're on the ceiling, we're in the clear. We'll probably end up looking something like this. And then if we continue to cut through here, we just end up at the truck area. And of course we can just have the belts along the ceiling. Then everything can go through this wall, right? There's nothing over here? No, this is exactly where we need to be. That means this is the only solution. All the items, inputs and outputs, have to go along the ceiling above here. Yeah, there's no other option. So, oh my gosh, what a tedious adventure this has been. All the materials now have their buffers and are being brought in. And then I had to move a bunch of pipes, so it's all chaotic there. So I can have the belts running along the ceiling to where they need to go. Oh my gosh, there's just so much material. It's insane. But none of this has been overly difficult, I have to say. It's just time consuming. It just took up time. Getting all the belts to where they need to go, making sure that the iron is fed into the machines properly, and that the belt work across here, overflowed properly into the cool loading system. And I gotta admit, it's pretty cool. Whenever you do like repeating patterns, it always ends up looking pretty spicy. I like it. Luckily, everything was at the same height like I planned, so all the belts are nice and even, yet they're crisscrossing everywhere. This whole room is gonna look crazy awesome. Output-wise, a lot of the steel is coming up this way, up and over to the ceiling, or it has to go, and everything ends up leaving out in that direction. Or at least it will once I've run through some tests. Because yeah, the whole thing is actually done. Lights are in, belts are done. I suppose the only other thing was the coal, which runs along the roof, through all the refineries, and then does a similar thing to the iron, where it just flows on forward in a weird dance of balancing and overflow, where eventually everything gets to where it needs to be. And all the outputs are just down beneath it. Oh boy! Yeah, you see what I mean? Just madness everywhere. But it's done. Hopefully. Once we turn it all on, everything will just work. Because all of the chaos has been attached to one switch right here. So either it all works, or none of it does. Whatever. Just do it. Just do it. I need to know. So there go all the smelters. Iron is a scootin'. Good. Fun fact, actually. I calculated the iron, and we have a ton of it extra, so that's gonna be used for future projects. Ah, that's pretty neat, eh? Don't see that problem often. Interesting. Oh, I see. There's a conveyor pole underneath there, and the belt connected to it instead of the belt. There's like clipping. Fun stuff like that, man. I've seen it all at this point. Like, between the refinery stuff I've been checking on and this whole project, oh, dude, it's been a time. Looks like it's all working properly, though. You guys aren't turning on. Oh, that's because there's no belt here connected. Classic. Always a million little problems. The rest of it's looking fine. We got tons of steel coming out. At the end of the day here, we're actually making 3,925 steel per minute. So these belts are gonna get crazy looking once some overflow finally starts happening. You know what? Let's make things a little bit more crazy. Let's turn back on all of the copper stuff. I wanna see everything moving and grooving. Even if it crashes my game, I have enough backups, it'll be fine. All right, there we go. A ton of stuff was changed with this, by the way. That merger system's all gone, but you know what? Outside the scope of this video. A lot of changes I've been working on with all of the smelters and refineries. With that all moving, we go back down here. How's my frame rate? Actually, okay. This is not bad. Wow, way better than expected. Hovering around 30. 35, dips to below 30 every so often, but man, that's fine. This is all locked away in a room, so it shouldn't affect a lot of our playthrough. And man, I gotta admit, it is worth it. All these belts working in tandem, all the movement, the lights, the machines. What a sight to behold. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Man, gotta love blueprints. This might be one of the coolest looking builds in our entire world. Aside from like our main base, this is phenomenal. And we can continue to build amazing things like this because of blueprints and the ceiling belts. Oh, the ceiling belts came in so handy. Could not have done it without them. But overall, I'd say everything is working pretty good and we're practically done. Oh yeah, I should mention all these blueprints are available on my Patreon if you want to use them yourselves. However, that is gonna be all for now, so I hope you guys enjoyed and thank you for watching. But have a fantastic rest of your day, and bye-bye.